I've been getting a lot of questions lately about how active is Classic Era these days. We're going to cover everything from the current server population, the economy, the cost it consumes, the leveling scene, the dungeon scene, the raiding scene, world buff drops, the PvP scene, battlegrounds, world PvP ranking, whatever. We're going to cover it all. In total, there are about 12,000 people playing on Classic Era. Much less than on Anniversary, of course. Now, I've been following the population trends of Classic Era for the last 3 years. What I'm expecting when Fresh ends is that a lot of those players are going to transfer from Fresh to Era. Now, I made a video like 6+ months ago where Agrand hinted in a Twitter conversation that if the demand is there for transfers, and a lot of people want them, so if the demand is there, then they will do the transfers. So all you have to do is, shout and scream on the forums and so on and so forth that you want transfers from Fresh to Era. A lot of people have already expressed the desire for that, and so if enough people express it, then it'll happen. Anyways, I do expect a big population boom when we have those transfers happen. Of course, yeah, some people are going to move to Burning Crusade, but not everyone will. There's a lot of people who they wanted to do Fresh for a bit with the sole intention of returning to Classic Era just because they love vanilla. In fact, a lot of people, like myself, play on Era and Fresh simultaneously. Anyways, like I said, 12,000. That's the total population of NA and EU. Whereas if you look at Anniversary, it's about 93,000. As has always been the case, the two main realms on Classic Era are Whitemane on North America, Firemaw on EU. Those are the PvP realms. They are both equally populated, about 4,000 players on those realms. The PvE realms are Mancrick, and that's on North America, and then Pyrewood Village on EU. They are a little bit less populated. Just note that all of these realms are connected realms. So, for example, Whitemane has connections with Thunderfury, Smolderweb, Bigglesworth, and so many others. Curranax, I can't remember them all, but there's so many realms that Whitemane is connected to. They are all the same. You could literally start leveling a character on Bigglesworth, and you can just join a guild that's on Whitemane. It's all the same. The cool benefit of these connected realms is that you can have Alliance on one and Horde on the other, although I've made many videos about how you can have Alliance and Horde on the same realm like Whitemane. I play on Whitemane, and I can't speak too much about the other realms, but Firemaw would be similar to Whitemane, and Pyrewood Village and Mancrick, they're going to have the same activities, but just like a lesser volume of them. It should also be said that there is an even more dedicated group of vanilla-loving role players. On the roleplay PvP realm Grobulus, there is only one guild per faction. The server is their playbox, their sandbox. There's no bots, no gold buying, just less than 100 people doing whatever the heck they want to do. But like I said, we're going to focus on Whitemane here. So in terms of the economy, the Whitemane economy is of course developed. And since 2019, a lot of gold has been farmed. Yet, the prices are not crazy. Ironically, they're actually cheaper for the most part than on Fresh. Now, there are some things like BOE epics that are farmed like crazy on Fresh, so your Edge Masters on Fresh are pretty cheap, but on Era they are a bit pricier. High level herbs are fairly cheap, but farming competition is also generally fairly low. There are definitely some bots, but many of the bots are actually off server. You see, there are these old realms that no one plays on, like they are literally dead realms, and only bots are there. But there are free transfers from those realms to, say, Whitemane. And so what these bots do is they farm that server, and then transfer all those materials to Whitemane, and it keeps all the materials cheap. I'm not, pro bot or anything, but just it's just the game we're playing these days. Blizzard doesn't ban bots; they love bots, so we have bots, but not as many bots as there are on Fresh. In fact, most of the bots went to Fresh, which is kind of nice for making Whitemane much more not pristine or anything, but you get the point. Low-level herbs and materials, they are not farmed quite as much. This can be a good farm, especially for new players or players leveling. Do know that while there are players leveling, and even low dungeons are ran, there's not a lot of people leveling on the server. But if we do some /who, we do see people out there leveling. My girlfriend, for example, she's slowly leveling a character. And over the last couple months, from getting to 30, 40, and now in the 50s, there have always been people around her doing similar quests. We run into people out there. She's casual. She's only got one profession, herbalism. She has like 1,500 gold without even trying. And whenever she's online, she gets whispers all the time to join a dungeon. And now that she's high enough level to do dungeons with me, like Blackrock Depths, both times that we've done Blackrock Depths, the dungeon forms within just a couple minutes. I spam LFG and the group is full, just like that. It's not because there are tons of dungeons forming nonstop that it filled so fast, but rather there is a decent amount of people who need these dungeons, want to run these dungeons for attunements, this, that, the other thing. But there's not a ton of people forming those dungeons. So typically, when one forms, they kind of fill pretty quick. But like I said, because not a ton of dungeons are being run, things like the Flask of the Titans recipe is pricey. But once you are level 60, so you see on Era, you don't need to farm pre-raid bis or anything like that. The day you're 60, you can hop into a ZG, an AQ20, do a Molten Core, do a Blackwing Lair. Like you can just go from one raid to the next and get a lot of gear. All in the same week or even one day if you're so inclined. If you are a healer, you can quite easily get into AQ40 on week 1. It's a very different gearing path when all of the raids are unlocked. Nax has been out for years, and so it's quite common that we will just welcome new players into the raids. As you saw when we talked about the population, it's about 60% Alliance, 40% Horde. There is more raiding on Alliance for that reason, but raids are run every single day. Many groups run different 40-man raids around the clock. So there are pug raids for Molten Core, Blackwing Lair, AK-40, and the 20-mans, like non-stop. And then there are scheduled Naxes. And there's all sorts of groups. You've got the Aussies doing the crazy early morning / late night stuff. You've got Chinese players. You've got your night shift players, East Coast, West Coast, everything in between, people who work from home for the daytime raids. There's all sorts of raids 24/7 going on. Now, most of them are GDKP. That's just the meta, right? People attend the raid and they get something. They get the gold. But there are soft reserve raids and guilds. There's an entire Discord server of all the soft reserve raids. I, for example, have raided in Passasauce for like 4 years or something. And, I mean, they haven't even kicked me out in spite of purposely trolling their raids for content for really all this time. I've learned that if you are just good enough, you won't be replaced. Of course, I'm joking. I will link some server Discords where people can find other groups. Raiding's more fun with world buffs, at least I think so anyways, and they drop daily. No one likes ninja drops, and on Whitemane at least, the buffs are quite scheduled. People will announce when they're dropping, that sort of thing. Guilds often drop the buffs after raids so other people can piggyback. So, if such and such a guild normally finishes the raid around, for example, Passasos finishes the raid Sunday night, then people know that we're going to drop a heart and a head. And we just kind of work together that way. There are also some hunters who have summons to Dire Maul or Songflowers like 24/7. It's very easy to get buffs on Classic Era. Basically, the community comes together around world buffs. Lastly, let's talk about the PvP scene. If you enjoy world PvP or PvP in general, I think Horde have it better because their population's a little bit lower. What that means is you just have more people to kill, first of all, and you have faster battleground queues. The one with the lower population is always going to have faster battleground queues, and that's beneficial if you're trying to rank. And people still are ranking up on Era. The 400 plus honor, like 400,000 honor weeks, usually are done on Alterac Valley weekend because Battlegrounds primarily pop on their specified bonus weekend, and like AV won't pop outside of the Alterac Valley weekend. So basically every 3 weeks it's AV, then alternating with the other ones. Currently it's Warsong Gulch weekend, and even early in the morning it's like there's multiple Warsong Gulches going with fairly fast queues, and I was playing a lot of those Warsong Gulches over this weekend here actually. Now world PvP does still happen, but it's mostly around world buffs. Songflower, Booty Bay, that sort of thing. Sure, people come and go, and they go into Blackrock Mountain and whatnot, but not a ton like on Fresh. But at the same time, the past 2 dungeons that I ran with my girlfriend, both times we encountered Horde, which is just a sign of health. It's good. We killed them, of course. Well, I think I've covered just about everything you need to know about Classic Era. If you have any other questions, let me know. And maybe I'll see you on Era, or maybe I'll see you on Fresh. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, drop me a sub and a comment. Catch me live on my Twitch channel, Dwarf Lord TV, to connect with me or say hi to me in game on any of my characters. Dwarf Lord out.
And they say that the Dwarf Lord could save us. I'm not gonna pave here and wait. I'll hold on to the beard of the Dwarf Lord. Watch as we heroic leap away.